Diane Epling Ministries presents Start Shining. Every star has a name, perfectly positioned by God for His purpose and destiny. The heavens declare His glory, so look up. It's time for you to start shining. And now here's Diane with this week's message.
This is Diane from Diane Epling Ministries. Welcome to my show, Start Shining. I'm so excited to be with you again this week because I want to talk about the King and the Lion of the tribe of Judah. That's the soon coming King. And we can see as we travel this, the kingdom, the royal power of God, and royalty that is the kingdom. And so today we're going to begin in Psalm 93, verse 1. But I want to say this, in the earth, God is placing people together, kings and queens, that will have such a oneness that we've never seen before, because it is going back to the scriptures. It's going back to the original place that God intended from the beginning to usher in the soon coming King, because the Bible says the righteous are as bold as a lion. And so the bride herself will be bold. And that is Christ coming back as a lion. We're going to see this today in the Word. And so I want to begin in Psalm 93, verse 1, because you're going to see the King and Queen and how this oneness is so powerful and what God is doing in the earth. And so verse 1 says, "I, Lord, Yahweh, now reigns as King. He has covered himself with majesty and strength, wearing them as his splendor garments. Royal power surrounds him as he sits securely on his throne." Now, when we go over here and look at this, I want to say this again. He's covered himself, a covering of majesty and strength, wearing them as a splendor garment. Now, we talked about the covering last week, how my book, The Dark Side of Christianity, is talking about the covering of God and how Adam was to cover Eve, and he failed at that because he ate the fruit that she took and gave it to him. He ate it, but he knew better. And when he fell, God calls out to Adam, not Eve. He says, "Adam, Adam, where are you?" And he said, "I hid myself because I was naked." And he said, "Who told you you were naked?" See, he never saw himself as that until he fell. And so when God shows us that he covers himself with majesty and strength, he is actually covering himself with the queen. And listen to this description. Here's how we know this. Majesty is impressive, stateliness, dignity, or beauty. Dignity is the state or quality of being worthy of honor or respect. It's a high or honorable rank or position. Royal power is the majesty of the royal household. There's authority, sovereignty, which is the authority or state to govern. There's power and dominion, which is supremacy, superiority, and territory. Now, this is key right here. This is how we can see the queen. It's a title given to a sovereign's wife or widow, Her Majesty the Queen. So God has actually covered himself with the queen. When he made Eve out of Adam's rib that we talked about last week, he made her and he brought her to Adam as a gift. And we can see that how the union, we can see the union, because Adam says, "This is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, and you shall be called woman." This is now. And see, God is saying right now, I am raising up kings in the earth, and I'm bringing them together with queens, because we have Deborah's rising up in the earth. We have Esther's rising up in the earth to take back territory and to take back and bring justice in the land. And God is bringing them together as one. And there is such a oneness that is coming together that we've never seen before. We think we've seen it up to now, but we haven't. And the reason why is because God has been preparing his bride. He's been pruning her and getting her ready to be that bold lion for Christ's return. And Christ is coming back as the Lion of the tribe of Judah. So when God says he wears her as a covering, it's amazing. It's just amazing. And see, it says a title given to a reigning prince or similar jurisdiction, influence, or rule. It's a dignitary. So we can see how, look at this, how we talked about Adam and Eve and how God brought her out of him. And that's why it says bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. And a woman, a virtuous bride, is to be, she's a wife, she's a woman of noble character. She's her husband's crown. And if she isn't, she's a decay to his bones. So we can see how this is given to both. Look at the oneness already. A title given to a reigning prince or similar jurisdiction. And you know, whenever it says here about a woman with her calmness and mildness and composure, you know, the Bible talks about a woman being meek and mild, okay? But this doesn't mean that she's not to be bold. But when there's a oneness and a coming together of a king and queen, it's absolutely amazing because they're in such union that they know how to work together. They know how to rule and reign together. They know how to work as a team. And what shows us this is the lion's pride. We can look at how they work together. We can look at the king of the jungle, the lion, and the lioness, and the responsibilities that they have in the pride. And so the lioness, she's the backbone of a lion pride. She's the backbone of it. That's why God says in his word that she is to be a helpmate or helpmeet to the man. She's the backbone of the pride. She plays a crucial role in the group's survival. The lioness is the primary hunter, responsible for securing food for the pride. And they are also to take care of the cubs. Now, look at this. This goes back to the Proverbs 31 woman, where God talks about how the woman prepares food for her family. The woman will take her hands and she works. And see, we can't take that away from the woman. We can't take that away from the wife because God's called her to do this. God's called her to have a destiny and purpose in the earth. And this is what a wife is to be. The Proverbs 31, a wife of noble character. A wife of noble character is her husband's crown. And so it says that her worth is far greater than rubies. So when you start to take away what she is to do, it's like a dying out. It cannot, the oneness and the union cannot survive it because she is the primary backbone. She's the backbone of the whole family. You know, the wife will pray. She'll wake up in the middle of the night and she will pray for her family, and she will go out and do what she has to do because she has that about her. God put that in her because she came out of man. We can see this. And so their teamwork and coordination are essential for successful hunting and protecting the pride's territory. They have to work together. If they don't work together, they will not be successful and they will not gain the territory. This is why the church is where it is today, and God's raising up a remnant that is as bold as a lion. Because the church, Jesus says, occupy until I return. Well, the church is not working as a team. The church has this one over here, and this one here, and this one here, and this one here. And the church is not working as a kingdom that God set as a foundation from the very beginning. He did this. And the queen, the bride, is to take territory. So if we're not working together, how are we going to take territory? And when we don't take territory, it goes into ruins. So this is why you have churches just demolished. This is why you have cities completely down and in ruins, because the church is not, in my third book, the voice of the church is not raising her voice as a lion, as a voice in these end times, to take back the land, to take back territory. And the pride, they have to work together. They have to be a team. And when we look at Esther, when we look at Esther, I want to go here for a minute, because this is absolutely beautiful, and it's amazing how we can tie this together with the beginning and the line of the tribe of Judah and the soon coming king. Esther went in hidden, and she needed to see the king because she ended up having favor with others. And she needed to see the king to save an entire nation. And the only thing that she wanted to do was to have a banquet. She wanted to have a feast with the king. And he says, Esther, when she gets in there, she said, you know what? If I die, I die. But I have to do this to save my people. I have to do this to take back the territory. I have to go in and see the king, because it wasn't customary for something like this to happen. So she had to, she knew what she had to do. So she goes in, and he says, Esther, what is your request? I will give it to you, and up to half the kingdom. And she says, I want to have a banquet. I want to have a feast with you. Now, this is why she did this. Because it was the way of royalty. It was the way of the kingdom. It was customary for a king to have a feast, and it was customary to do this and have his queen there. Vashti would not come, and so he got rid of her. And then he's looking and searching for a queen, and she's preparing herself. And it took a while to get prepared. Hello. God's been preparing the bride for quite some time. And it's coming to the place where he says, this is now bone of my bone. This is now the king. Okay. It's time to get with it, bride. It's time to rise up and shut everything else out and say, you know what? If it costs me something, I'm going anyway. If I die, I die. If it takes that for me to go in, then I'm going, because I'm called to this. God says that we are a chosen people. We are royalty. We're the priesthood. So it was customary that these types of things happen. And so in a lion's pride, now get this. Now her main role was to hunt. That's her main role, and to feed. Okay. She is the hunter. And it says that she has no mane on her back, and the lion does. The lioness does not have a mane. So it's easy for her to maneuver and be flexible. And the church has to be able to maneuver and be flexible. And the bride and the queen have to be able to maneuver and be flexible with the Holy Spirit to do and take territory, to maneuver and get the target. Esther knew how to do it. She knew the heart of the king. She had a heart for the king. And when the lioness goes out and hunts, it says that she's the one that does this. Now, this is what researchers say when you Google this and look this up. That, and you can take it or not, but it says that the lion has this mane, and he's laid back and he's being lazy, and it says that can actually protect him with a fight. Okay. But she goes out and she doesn't have this mane, and so it's easy for her to maneuver and be flexible. The lion normally doesn't hunt. It's the lioness. And when she goes out and gets the food, the first person or the first one that she gives a bite to, the very first bite, guess who it goes to? Not her cubs, not herself. It goes to the king. The very first bite goes to the king. Now, let's go back to the Garden of Eden. The serpent tells Eve, well, go ahead. Adam had already told her, we know, God had already told Adam, we know Adam told her, don't eat of that tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And the serpent deceives her, and she takes it. It says that it was pleasing to the eye. It was lustful. We've got a lot of that going on right now in the church. Whatever's pleasing to the eye, whatever tickles your ears, oh, let's just have that, So she takes that fruit. It was lustful to the eyes. And she takes it and eats of it and then gives it to her husband. She takes it and then gives it to her husband, and he ate of it. He knew not to do that. That was not the way of the kingdom. He knew not to do it because it was not of God. And when he did that, when she gave him that bite, when she took it, it was lustful to the eyes. She gives him a bite, and he knew not to do it. And when he did it, they'd lost their covering. The covering that God says that he wraps himself with as a splendor garment, the majesty of a queen, the majesty. He's royalty. He's power. He's everything. And she's to be the same thing. And so they lost it in the very beginning. And the way God created them, they were to take dominion. They had it all. God said, here, it's all yours. Take it. Take it. Occupy, bride, until I return. Do it. And we are failing miserably down here, not taking territory. So we have to get with it. We have to look at this and say, okay, the king is now. And the bride of Christ is now. God is purifying her, and he is bringing her to the king. Whenever a pride works as a team, it works wonderfully. It says the king just lays back in all of his laziness, and he's just, there. And I know some of you are going to be like, okay, Diane, I don't want my husband just laying around and being lazy, and here I have to come in and feed him. I'm not saying that, but I'm telling you, this is what God says. This is what God is showing. She has a work to do. The bride has a work to do in the earth. And it says that he just sits back and he's being lazy and, but he's not. He's actually not. He is actually there to protect the territory. He's protecting it from other lions coming in. She was not created to protect. She doesn't have the build to protect. That's what we were talking about with the mane. If he gets into a fight, and you can take that or leave it, you know, about the mane. But the lion himself, he's a bigger build. He's a stronger build. He was created to fight and protect the territory. The king was created, God himself. The Bible says in Psalm 91 several times, I will protect. I will protect. I'm your protector. Even the word even says, I'm your protecting bodyguard. And because you love me, I will greatly, greatly protect you. So his responsibility is like the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And the kings that God is raising up in the earth, they have to be willing to protect and cover the queen and their family. They have to be willing to do that. And here's the thing. When we see the king that Esther goes in and talks to, and he says, what is your request? She was in there. What is your request? And I'll give that to you and half the kingdom. If your king does not have that type of heart, then that's not your king. That's not your king. And God is saying, I am raising up kings and queens who have such a oneness that they have never seen. We have never seen anything like this before, because it truly is kingdom, and God is bringing it back. I'm raising them up because I am taking territory. My bride's taking territory, and her king is going to protect it. It says they're going to work as one, a complete oneness that was supposed to be from the beginning of time. That's why Christ came out of David. It says the female lion is the heartbeat of the pride. So when you think about the oneness, David had a heart for God. It says he was a man after God's own heart. And she is the heartbeat of the pride. And if you take that away, you have nothing. It's dead and gone. Because God created man and woman to work together. He did that from the very beginning. Adam had everything, all the animals, and it was not fulfilling to him. And God said, I'm going to bring someone to you, Adam, a gift, his last and perfect creation. I'm going to bring her to you. I was listening to a song today that came on, and it was talking about how you're going to wish, one day you're going to look back and you're going to wish that you hadn't done what you did, because you are going to see that you had the very best. You had it all. I mean, it just came on today, and I'm thinking, my goodness, this goes so with the message, because Adam and Eve fell and they hid themselves. And so when you take out the heartbeat of the family, the heartbeat of the couple, you have nothing. The life is gone. God created the male and the female to be together as one. He did this. And we're going to go over here and talk about Christ for a minute before I get into, I have a few minutes left, before I get into these last scriptures. When Christ was at the Last Supper, this just totally amazed me. He says, he's gathered with his disciples, and he says, take, eat. Here's bread. And they broke it and ate of it together. He said, take, eat. This is my body. Here's the drink, the wine. Take this. This is my blood. He said, take, eat. The queen brings the food back to the lion and says, take, eat. Eve was supposed to give Adam something that came rightfully so, but she did not. And it says he ate of something. Here, take, eat. And he knew not to do that. Christ was showing us the way of the bride when he did this at the Last Supper. He was showing us, take, eat of my body, take, drink of my wine, of my blood. He was showing the bride the most important thing. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Taste and see that the Lord is good. He was showing us the way of the kingdom. He was showing us the royalty. Christ was the king. He was the Messiah that was prophesied about, the soon coming king. And he is coming back as the king, the Lion of the tribe of Judah. And there's only one time that this is mentioned in the entire Bible, and it's in Revelation 5:5. Let me get to it here. It says, Jesus is referred to as the Lion of the tribe of Judah, emphasizing his role as the triumphant Messiah who has conquered sin and death. The lineage connects Jesus to the royal lineage of Judah, which includes King David and his authority as kingship. The lion not only symbolizes power, but also protection, as Jesus is seen as a guardian of his followers. The Lion of Judah means strength, authority, and leadership. One we can see originates from the tribe of Judah, which makes so much sense because what is coming out of the lion? A roar. And Judah knew how to create a sound. The praise of God. Judah goes before. Judah goes before. Judah, the praise goes before. And from that, King David and ultimately Jesus Christ descended. Jesus, the Lion of Judah, the victorious king and protector of his followers, is mentioned again in Revelation 5:5. I'm telling you, this is absolutely amazing what God is doing in this time. He is raising up kings. He is preparing his queen. And they are coming together as one to usher in the soon coming King of Christ. So I hope this blesses you. I hope you guys have a great week. Shine for the Lord. Start shining. I'll see you next week. God bless you.
For more information, please visit DianeEpling.com. Start shining. God bless you, and see you next week. Announcing Diane Epling's newest book, The Voice of the Church. You can order yours today on DianeEpling.com, or they're available at her store, My Daily Thread Boutique, located at 610 North Eisenhower Drive, Beckley, West Virginia. Don't delay. Get yours today and start enjoy these very captivating and inspiring books.